What's up, everybody? It's that time of the day, that time of the week, that time of the month.
Oh, yeah.
You listen to the good,
The band.
the ugly. I'm Big Papa.
I'm Jeff.
And have we got a guest for you today? Oh, my goodness. I've been waiting for this one for a while.
Yeah, you have.
I've been talking about this for
Quite a
months.
while.
Yeah,
Yeah, at least a couple months.
I know. I even mentioned it a couple times to our friend, Mr. Kevin Dean.
Yes, you did.
To Mr. Jeff Tatora.
Yeah.
Anytime a drummer's been on,
It's
this. It's
Yep.
like, yeah, well,
And?
if we were religious, it's like talking to Moses. So, I think he might have taught Moses his drums. I don't know.
Well,
Let's bring him on
find out.
before I stick my foot in my mouth.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, our guest today, Mr. Rick Latham. And he is coming in. Look
There
at that.
he is.
Didn't even have to have the.
Hey guys, hey man, that's quite an intro, man.
You like that one?
I don't know if I can live up to that one, but
Oh, you're living up to it just by being here.
No, thank you guys.
We've interviewed a lot of people, and we've set up a lot of these for the next couple months even. And by far, you've been one of the coolest guys out there. So,
thank you, man.
It speaks volumes.
Thanks.
It really does.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
No, we appreciate it. For those of you who don't know, Rick is one of the industry's most sought after studio drummers, touring guys, writers, instructors. You're also you have a residency as a professor as well, don't you, Rick?
I did. I was teaching in Italy when I was living in Italy before COVID, but since COVID, I've come back all the time, full time back in the States now.
Okay.
And I'm living in Columbia, South Carolina now.
Nice.
So
very good.
we moved here. Yeah, my wife and I moved here a couple years ago.
Got away from the wrong coast. I mean the right coast.
Well, no, I love LA, man. I love LA, but I tell you, this is a beautiful place we got, and got a beautiful neighborhood, and much cheaper than LA.
That's not a Brooklyn accent, I hear.
No, I'm from here originally, man. That's
Right.
And it's interesting. I had never had any intention of moving back here, but I was in Italy. I was living in Italy actually mostly during COVID. So we still had a place in LA, and my wife has businesses in LA. And when COVID hit, man, it hit Italy really hard. Mm-hmm. And so I came back. And, LA was cool, and I was always working a lot in LA and stuff, but I had this residency at two schools, actually, one in Milan and one in Torino, Italy. And we had a trio over there. We were playing in Poland and Switzerland, Germany, Italy, Croatia, man, and everything was going great. So I was staying over there, but COVID came back. Then, after COVID, nobody knew what was going to happen. So.
Right.
I have a friend here that's his wife's a real estate agent. She said, it's a great time to buy here. And man, I came and looked at some places. I got a beautiful studio here and a beautiful big property, and the neighbors aren't so close like LA. And it's great, man. I love being back here. It's interesting. I still go back to LA, and we still have an apartment in LA, and my wife is actually in LA more than I am. So. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, the accent you hear is, I'm a Southern boy.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
So that's awesome. I mean, Italy especially, when you mentioned it got hit, well, being in Milan, that was right there. I mean, the fashion area of Italy was the one that got hit the hardest. I know.
It was crazy, man. It was crazy. You had to, get like notes from the government to go out to do anything and stuff. I mean, they would check your papers and stuff. I mean, it was kind of like, crazy, Big Brother kind of stuff.
Oh,
but
okay,
it was necessary at that time.
Sure.
But it was pretty crazy. But, we got through it, and I'm thankful for that. I see it's rearing its ugly head again in some areas now.
Yeah, so they say.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
But I'm staying safe. My family's good, and all our kids and stuff. So it's all good, man.
So give us a rundown. You don't need to go as far back as you want, but just give us some of the, when did you start? Who'd you start with? What was your first like, holy cow, I can't believe I'm getting this gig moment in life? And, give us a small synopsis or rundown of what you've done.
Well, I started playing in high school here at Brooklyn Casey High School in West Columbia. And, I took band, high school band, junior high school band and stuff. I had a band in junior high school, actually, the Hypertentious Amoeba.
That was the name?
Yeah, that was
That's
the name
great.
of the band, man. And the guys are still around here. It was great to see them, when I got back here. We still have lunch every once in a while. So, grew up back here, went to East Carolina University in Greenville, North Carolina for undergrad. Studied with a great percussionist, Harold Jones, who's really widely known in the classical percussion field.
Mm-hmm.
And had a great time there at East Carolina, played in the jazz band, played in the marching band, all that kind of stuff. And then I went to North Texas for my master's, and I was able to get a teaching assistantship because of the great background I had from Harold Jones at East Carolina. So, North Texas was and still is one of the premier jazz schools in the country. Mm-hmm. And the lab bands there are famous, and so I went and was teaching. I was teaching at North Texas, teaching undergrads and working on my master's at the same time. I was teaching snare drum and mallets. I used to play a lot of marimba and four mallet kind of stuff, and,
Sure. Mm-hmm.
and had a great background, like I played timpani in orchestras. And so I was in orchestras, the percussion ensemble. I was actually writing for the drum line, which was, that's when that all kind of started,
Mm-hmm.
late 70s, drum corps style stuff. And then, after school, man, and I'll talk more about that because one of my teachers actually lives here. Jim Hall was one of my teachers at North Texas. His wife was a real estate agent, and we've kept in touch all these years. So that's how I moved back here. More about that later. But, after North Texas, I was, trying to decide if either I would move to New York or LA. And at that time, I felt like New York was more of a jazz kind of scene, and LA was more of a commercial scene.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wanted to be Jeff Porcaro.
Right.
Yeah.
So and I moved to LA, man, and really, kind of the book had come out in 1980, and this was 84. So I wrote the book when I left North Texas in 79, and the book by 84, it had hit pretty well, man, and really just came out at the right time, and really just still really proud of that, and a little bit lucky at the same time that it did come out at the right time, the right place at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And when I moved to LA, I was kind of, I was known a little bit from the book and stuff, so it wasn't just like some other drummer just moving there, and I had some friends there. I had been to New York and LA several times before moving. And, man, I was in the Union one day, and I saw a friend of mine, another friend that had gone to North Texas years before me. And he said, man, what, I said, yeah, I just moved here. He said, well, I'm getting ready to go on the road, and I'm doing this rehearsal for this movie. Would you like to do it? And I said, man, sure, I'd like to do anything,
Right.
So
does it come with a paycheck?
Yeah, right, exactly. And it was a union thing, so it was great. But rehearsing with dancers, and for this like breakdance movie, that was big at that time, in 1984. So I found out, man, Quincy Jones was doing the music for this movie.
Oh, wow.
So that was crazy that I just happened to take this thing, and I didn't even know that at the time, but later on, met Quincy, and we did a lot of music. We actually wrote a lot of music for that, for the movie, called Fast Forward. It's a dance movie. You can still see some excerpts from it on the internet and stuff. But it's kind of like a contemporary West Side Story with like two dance gangs kind of competing against each other, So, that was the first thing in LA. But before that, I was playing, Chuck Rainey had moved, the great bass player, played with Aretha, Steely Dan, Chuck, great bass player, one of the best bass players in the world, man. And he had moved to Dallas. So I was playing with him actually in a trio in Dallas with another great guitar player, Joe Lee. before I moved to LA. So anyway, long story longer.
Yep.
Moved to LA, got that gig, and then I was friends with several people, and then all of a sudden this the Edgar Winter thing happened. And I got recommended for Edgar Winter. I had played with a lot of different jazz artists and stuff, and local guys in LA, and done some one-off kind of things. But I had gotten referred by Carmine Apiece, man. Carmine was a friend of mine. Still, we keep in touch. And he was playing with Edgar and went on to do something else, and said, "Man, hey Rick, you want to do this gig with Edgar?" So I did, man, and I got the gig, and Edgar and I got along great, man. I did that for 10 years, a little more, and
got to play Frankenstein every night.
Yeah, every night, man. Right. Frankenstein, Free Ride.
Yeah, Free Ride. Yep.
Tobacco Road.
Yeah,
great, man.
That's awesome.
And then and then after Edgar, I was playing around and doing studio stuff. I was doing studio stuff all this time from the thing with Quincy, and and then the Juice Newton thing happened after I left Edgar.
Oh wow!
Got this gig with Juice Newton, which also lasted for about 10 years. So that a lot of different kind of stuff, and I really kind of pride myself in being able to, do all these, play all these various styles and play them, with really, what the music calls for,
right.
Sure, because you're playing
every gig. Yeah, every gig is not a drummy kind of gig,
right?
Yeah. So you gotta play for the music,
What?
So that's kind of the story in long.
Nice.
No, believe me,
that's awesome.
Yeah, this thing can record 6 hours. So I don't care.
Well, I mean to play like like you said, you're playing with Edgar Winter and you're playing Frankenstein and Free Ride and then you go to Juice Newton. And it's gotta slow myself down, Yeah.
Well, it was a great band, man. Both bands really great. And Juice, playing, Angel of the Morning, Queen of Hearts, all her big hits too, man. That you really kind of have to pinch yourself, playing with these artists,
Right.
And even before that, like during kind of about the time I was moving, I was doing a lot of clinics and stuff for the companies back then, and I was endorsing and playing Pearl drums first. That was one of my first endorsements.
Oh, okay.
And they had some kind of association with Gibson. I forget who owned what but they became like kind of sister companies or whatever you call it. Mm-hmm. And I started doing some gigs at the trade shows with B.B. King, man. It was crazy.
I was just going to ask that because
that's how that came about, So and it was me and Larry London. Neil Sean was playing guitar.
Oh, geez.
I mean, it was crazy.
Wow. Talk about pinching yourself.
Yeah, and playing, The Thrill Is Gone behind B.B. the first time.
God, yeah. So did you ever play other than corporate with BB? Any touring or any?
No, I never toured with him. But played several of those kind of shows. You know, that was the first one. Actually, was the last one in Chicago. They used to have the NAMM show, the summer show in Chicago.
Yep.
And then they had the winter show in LA all the time. And that's coming back next year, I understand too.
Yeah, I heard as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I've always wanted to go to a NAMM show.
Yeah.
Well, you should, man. You should.
Yeah.
It's
I have to leave.
incredible.
I have to leave my credit card at home though,
right?
Because
well, there's a joke about NAMM. Everybody talks about getting NAMM thrax.
Yeah, right.
Everybody gets sick. Everybody gets sick after the show because everybody's from everywhere all over the world.
Yeah.
Well,
but it's kind of a joke. And you talk all the time. Your throat's worn out, and it's loud, and But it's cool, man. It's a great time to see. A lot of my friends and players and industry people that you never see during the year.
Yeah.
So, and I have a really good relationship with all my companies that I endorse now. DW, Evans, ProMark, Istanbul Mehmet Cymbals, Drum Dots,
Yeah.
And you get to see these corporate guys too, which are, in those companies, they're great guys. And most of them were drummers. At those companies. So it's the NAMM show is cool, I think, man. It's it gets it can be grueling, but it's a good thing. So I'm looking forward to that.
You mentioned Istanbul Mehmet there.
Yeah.
Have they taken kind of the high-end business away from Zildjian? Since Zildjian is more U.S. made now?
I don't know if I would say that, man. I would just, but Mehmet, Mehmet, he made the K's as a young teenage boy. He was working, I think, at 12 or 13 in the original, Istanbul factory in Istanbul.
Right.
So, and he's the guy, man. I think he's the best living cymbal-smith. Right. Actually. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, I have a very good relationship with Mehmet. I love Mehmet. And, we have a very good relationship. I've been using those cymbals for over 40 years now.
And the only reason I mentioned that, Rick, is that when I first started drumming, like many young drummers, whatever gear you got was whatever you were handed down from someone who said, well, I don't need this anymore type thing.
Right.
And a lot of my first cymbals back in the late 70s came from the original overseas version of Zildjian that were made in, I believe, Istanbul in that area. So now when you see the Zildjian and they're coming out of basically Boston, completely different product. And I know that I still have my originals that I wouldn't give up, even if I haven't picked up a set of drumsticks in 15 years, and I'll never get rid of these cymbals. I don't know why I have this.
No, I agree, man. I totally agree. I still have some old ones too, and that was my first cymbals also. I ordered a drum set. My first real drums were from Manny's in New York, and I ordered out of the catalog, man. And
it's like shopping in the Sears catalog.
Beautiful Slingerland kit, man. I remember talking to him, Zildjian cymbals. But at that time too, like you said, at that time that was about all there were. There were Paiste and Zildjian,
right,
and that was it. So
you couldn't kill those. You could. I don't care. I hit hard. I've always hit hard. And I beat the living snot out of those Zildjians and never cracked a cymbal. And the only cymbals I ever cracked were the stuff I bought post 85, 86, 87 that were, nowhere close. Nowhere close.
Yeah, I hardly ever break cymbals. I think I've broken 2 cymbals in my life.
Right.
But I think it's a lot to do with technique and how you hit them and placement and stuff like that. But back to the question. I mean, everybody makes great stuff, man. I have, John D. Christopher that worked at, Zildjian for so long. Is a very good friend of mine. I knew Armand Zildjian, and those guys. Everybody makes great stuff. But I think it has changed over the years in a lot of the companies. And Istanbul Mehmet, man, it's handmade. I mean, I could show you pictures from the factory. You wouldn't believe it. It's down and dirty, man. It's funky, and you can't believe they make so many cymbals.
Right,
in this small little factory. I mean, there's guys working all the time.
People don't understand what goes into making those. I mean, they're hand pounded. They're I mean, they make some cast cymbals too, like everybody does. But for the most part, I mean, the things I use. I mean, here, I'm going to switch this real quick. You can see. I mean, this is my setup over here. Magic of technology.
So that, those cymbals sound great. And that ride cymbal, man, that very dark, dry, non-lathed thing, man, I love that. So, I dig all their stuff, man. And it does have some kind of earthy quality, I think, that it just works for me. I like dark, kind of, dark sounds and fast crashes and stuff. So, I love those guys and love the product.
I mean, we could totally sidetrack this to completely talking about gear because
I know.
Yeah,
but the one thing
I love to talk about. Yeah,
me too. Okay. We're definitely going to have to continue this, just the two of us, one of these days.
The one thing I did want to ask you is, looking at the setup you just had. Okay.
Yeah.
I am not a drummer at all. You hit a cymbal. Yep, that sounds like a cymbal. Okay. But the one with all the holes in it.
Yeah.
What is the reason?
Well, it's just an effect. It's very fast. It's very thin. That cymbal is very thin, and it's very the response is very like
Right.
Okay.
So
I don't see a lot of drummers playing them.
It's not going to ring forever.
Check it out. I'm going to turn my vocal mic off for a second. I'm going to hit it.
Sure.
You can check it out.
How cool is this?
I know.
He's in the boom boom room.
He is too.
And that's not a strip joint.
No. Yeah. I get it.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Free drum solo by Rick Latham right there on our show.
Yeah.
Boom. Suck it, Rick. Not you,
Okay.
Rick. No.
Did I have? Yeah. I hope that I had my mic off. I don't know if
It was.
Yeah, no, it sounded perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So
that's what's happening with that. It's an effect. It's just an effect kind of thing. But I think all the companies make one now with that kind of thing.
Right.
who I know growing up listening to the stuff I did, I like the way that some of the predecessors of music kind of mixed genres. Guys like Steve Gadd and Bill Bruford and, Bill from Yes. I mean, those guys,
Sure,
I think,
sure.
really took a lot of jazz-inspired, blues-inspired, and brought it to make it their own. Guys like Ginger Baker, completely
Sure.
different, just
All those
revolutionary.
Exactly, man. And at that time, I guess, mid 70s, late 70s, 80s, that's when that term fusion, came around. And that was, like jazz rock kind of stuff, at that time, progressive kind of stuff. And yeah, those guys, I know Bill Bruford, Gadd, those guys were big influences, Billy Cobham, all those guys. And talk about, you guys are from upstate. So, Gadd from Rochester,
Yep.
all these guys, Tony Levin,
Yep.
all these guys.
I forgot about Tony Levin.
So yeah, that was a great time in music, man, for sure. And a lot of those guys were Lenny White incorporating jazz into funk and, kind of that into that fusion mode. Chick Corea.
Oh, God,
that,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I saw those guys, man. I saw the original Return to Forever, man. Al Di Meola, Stanley Clarke, Lenny White, and Chick at East Carolina, man. And like in 1972 or 3 or something like that. No, 74 or 5, somewhere in there. But yeah, and crazy.
It was 4.
That was incredible.
Dude, I don't care. Demiola himself.
Oh, I know.
First of all, I don't know if they dipped him in formaldehyde. The guy doesn't age. He does not age.
I know, man. He's doing a great thing now on YouTube. Not on YouTube, on Facebook or Instagram. He's in Italy a lot, vacationing and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's got these, he always shows like he's in Napoli, eating a pizza or something, man. And saying, my people are from here and blah, blah, blah. So that's cool. But yeah, he's looking good, man. He doesn't age.
Yeah.
Nope.
My buddy Billy and I, he used to play, traveling down the Spanish Highway. I forget the full name of the song, but just that whole album. And then that. Any of his stuff was just so heady, and I just dug all that. You mentioned a piece earlier. Carmine, I've got an old cymbal case of his, Anvil cymbal case that went up for auction that he signed that I had to have it, because I have a problem.
Cool.
Yes, you do.
Jeff,
I witnessed it. It's a problem.
Prime.
Well, hey, man, I got some Edgar Winter cases I'll be glad to sign and get out of my garage, man.
There you go.
I love Edgar, but I don't need these flight cases anymore.
Right?
Trust me. Jeff and I were laughing about it last night as Amazon keeps dropping stuff off. And he walks in today and he throws me an Amazon package like, dude, really? I'm like, I got a problem. I got to stop buying shit. It's just getting out.
I know how that is, man. I totally get it.
So easy. And then it's like $10 more to be here tomorrow. Yeah.
Right.
I've gone my whole life without it, but now it has to get here tomorrow.
Yeah. No,
Great.
It's crazy, man. It's easily accessible now.
Yes.
For sure.
So what's some of the studio work you've done, or session work you've done? I'm sorry.
In LA, I did, TV shows. I did 9 to 5 when that was a TV show. Man,
okay.
That's going back some time.
Mm-hmm.
And I did Fame. I did the original Fame TV show a little bit when it moved to LA.
Still too young.
Yeah.
Some movies, some movie soundtracks and stuff. I mean, just all kind of commercials.
Fast and Furious.
Coca-Cola commercials, Chevy, Ford.
Sure.
That kind of stuff. So, and recorded, I did 3 CDs with Edgar, and we were actually recording some stuff with Juice, and then she decided to retire, so that stuff never came out. But
do you think it'll ever see the light of day?
I'm sorry.
Do you think that stuff from Juice will ever see the light of day?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. Can't say.
Right.
But I'm always, I write stuff here. I do things. Mm-hmm. I'm working with some producers in Germany and Italy.
Oh, nice.
And, do a lot of stuff here. I do a lot of tracks here at the house, and people send me stuff. And I'm playing live with this, a great blues guy. He's a legend in South Carolina, kind of southeast. Dr. Mac Arnold. He's actually got an honorary doctorate from University of South Carolina, but
cool.
He played with Muddy Waters and BB and John Lee Hooker. Man, this guy's the real deal. He's 81 years old, man, and we play like 2 or 3 gigs a week, shows.
That's crazy.
So I'm staying busy, and I'm
Good
still
deal.
teaching here and, doing stuff. So recording, I like all kinds of music, man. I'll play, there's only 2 kinds of music, like they say, good music and bad music.
That's right.
That's right.
Yep.
And sometimes it's the drummer that can make or break the bad music.
Well, that's for sure, man. I not because I'm a drummer, man, because I produce a little bit, but records now are really, the drums are very important, man.
Yeah.
They always have been, but listen to like contemporary country music.
Yeah,
it's rocking, man. That shit sounds great, you know, and it's like it's rocking. It's like guitar and drums, And that's changed a lot. A lot of true country people don't like contemporary country, but I like it, man. It's
as I do, yes.
Well, there is. It's not even. We mentioned this the other day. It's not just country rock anymore.
No,
it's country.
Right.
It's country metal.
Yeah.
Sure.
Country.
Sure.
It's pop. Country is completely segregated itself to the point where it has its own subcategories more than it ever has. Years ago it was bluegrass, it was traditional, it was but now you've got bluegrass, rock, heavy metal, pop, almost R&B versions of country now.
Sure.
And I like the way that the younger people have embraced it more globally than they ever did. I admit I was one of those kids in the back seat, and my father would be playing like Hank Williams Jr. and I'd be like, "Oh my God, turn this off! Sure. I want to listen to Kiss."
Right. No, that's the way I was too as a kid. Because I was listening to more soul and R&B. When I was younger, but and pop, regular pop music. But yeah, country to me at that time was very traditional country. Almost folky kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which is cool now, and I appreciate that now too. But it's changed a lot over the years,
yes,
for sure. But I love it. I do country sessions. I've done several of those here recently. So, whatever floats your boat, man. It's all good to me.
So by having the Boom Boom Room just down the hall, do you find
it's over the garage?
Okay, right. Over the garage. Do you find it easier now to get to bang out even more session work now that you can do everything from home and just send it a file?
Definitely. You don't, that's the thing now, man. Technology has really, I think, it's a blessing and a curse, I think, for the music industry in some ways, the digital revolution and all, this, record deals going away and physical records and CDs and stuff. Streaming is great. and it's got its place, you know, and I think it's helped a lot of artists. But yeah, having a studio in your house, man, I think everybody, all of my friends have studios. All of my musician friends, you know, have studios in their house, and we all do a lot of stuff together, you know, and send it out. Like you said, it's easy to walk in here and everything's set up and push the buttons and, you know, go for it. And it sounds good. You've got a lot of control. I mean, I can control my sound, and I know I'm sending somebody a good drum sound, and then they can work with it however they want, you know.
I think the only
it's great.
The only downside, and we learned this again yesterday, a good friend of the show and a good friend of mine was on. He's a studio musician, or he started touring. He did a lot of studio work out, and he lives in Nashville. And he said, you know, the need for being in Nashville isn't even to be there to do the recording. It's just being able to rub the elbows at the right time.
Sure.
Because if they're looking for a studio guy, there's 15 that they just had cocktails with. So as he called it, the hang time.
Yeah.
You know,
No
hanging
kidding.
out. That
like LA, man. Sorry to interrupt you. But
No, you're fine.
LA the same way. That's one reason why I chose LA to move to LA, because you know, like I said, everybody wanted to be Jeff Porcaro, you know, in the 80s.
right.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of session work. There was bands getting signed and live tracking and stuff, man. That's so much fun. I still love that. And you know, it's great, like I said, having the luxury of having a studio here, but I still love playing with guys live, you know, in a room.
Yeah.
And I can get 2 or 3 guys up here, and we do rhythm section stuff up here. So, you know, it's changed, but it's still, there's a lot of recording going on.
Who's your favorite modern day drummer? I mean, you know, if you watch people talking about some of the best, you know, they still go to Dave Grohl. They go to guys like Flashiness for Tommy Lee and stuff like that. Who would be your favorite modern day drummer? That's
wow, man, it's hard to say, man. I actually like Taylor Hawkins a lot, man. I did like him a lot, man. And Dave Grohl plays great, man. I think, you know, for the, I guess, newer guys, if you want to call it that. But I'm still into, you know, like, you know, Gadd and, you know, all these guys, Rick Marotta, you know, I think all these guys still play great. But, you know, there's a lot of young guys that really play great. But I think the thing with a lot of young players, man, they don't really have the feel that I like, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
They have chops and stuff. And that's why I don't really, you know, I never got into like metal that much. Not that I don't like it or anything. It's not my favorite. And progressive stuff, you know, it just seemed like it didn't, you know, I'm a more R&B funk guy. I mean, I like to just sit on a groove and, you know, have a guitar player playing, you know, I like that kind of stuff a little more. So I have to say, you know, I'm not really into some of the, you know, alternative kind of things, but I think those 2 guys are, you know, 2 of my favorite guys that I've listened to.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we lost a good drummer when we lost Hawk. I mean, he was he mixed a bunch of stuff, and it wasn't always just your straight 4/4 stuff, and they got kind of really vanilla. You know, it wasn't about that.
Exactly, and Dave Grohl plays good.
Oh
man.
yeah, well he was the original drummer before Hawk got there. So
exactly.
You know, I used to watch guys like Keith Moon, and when I first started watching Keith Moon, I said because I learned traditional grip, and then Keith was kind of more of a match grippy, you know, as well as Ginger Baker too. But Keith always looked like it was like he was in pain. It just looked like he looked so uncomfortable with the way he's hitting some of those.
Yeah, that was just his thing, man. That's the way he played.
Stick movement.
But I played traditional grip too. I was you know, taught that way and learned that way growing up, and it feels very natural to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, those guys were great too, man. I listened to those guys a lot growing up, and I still love, you know, all of that classic rock stuff, man. Grand Funk, man. The 2 things on the wall back here, man.
Yeah.
One is from Grand Funk when we played with them with Edgar, Don Brewer was a huge influence.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then the other one, man, is Ron Bushy, Iron Butterfly, in a guy.
Oh, wow.
So, we played gigs with them, and I had these drum heads signed by those guys. And
That's
stuff.
cool.
So that's when I grew up, man. I'm sure there are drummers that probably don't even know those bands. But go back and listen to that Don Brewer live solo, man. That live Grand Funk solo, man.
Yeah.
That's one of the best rock drum solos in history, I think, man.
Who was
It's really, really killer.
Who was Jimi Hendrix drummer during Woodstock?
Mitch Mitchell.
Another one.
Yeah, exactly, man.
That drum solo from Woodstock it just blew you, because there wasn't a lot of people doing stuff. Anything that came close to that was like Wipeout.
Sure.
The 50s,
yeah. Well, In-A-Gadda-Da Vida, was a cool thing, man. But it was, it had its place, man. It was a cool thing, and that was a very kind of trippy kind of thing, but man, that was some great stuff, man. But that Don Brewer solo, man, that thing is slamming.
You got to write that down.
And going back to Carmine, man. Carmine is one of the best rock drummers, I think.
Oh God, yeah,
ever, man.
Yeah,
he's a great rock drummer.
Yes.
Well, you're going to have to use your influence. His
brother's no slouch.
No, his brother's definitely no slouch.
No, Vinny's great, man. Vinny's great.
I've sent both of them messages to try to get them on the show. I think we're going to have to get a little creative with some people we might know that know
Good
them.
luck.
There you go.
Good luck.
Just saying.
Let me know how you make out.
Just saying.
No problem.
That's how we got half our guests now. Through other guests that say, it wasn't bad. We had fun with these guys. They don't.
Yeah, that's cool.
They don't. It's not their traditional talk show or interview.
Not.
They talk about a bunch of dumb shit too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the good, the band, and the ugly.
That's right. That's right. We show you all three here.
There's
we talk about the band,
some good,
a lot of band, and a ton of ugly. Yeah,
a ton of ugly.
Yeah. No, that's funny. That's funny.
What do you think? I got to ask. We asked this of everybody. What do you think? One of the biggest, I can't believe that just happened. Screw ups of live performance screw ups you've ever had.
Well, that's an interesting story, man, and I've told this before, but it's a great one. When I was playing with Edgar, I forget where we were, man. I think we might have been in Florida somewhere, but Edgar had a lot of stuff sequenced because all that synthesizer stuff and stuff going on. And he would play some live keyboards, but we played to a sequence on some tunes. And, man, this was, years ago. So, the sequencers were not quite as hip and as they are today, as stable, let's say.
Yeah.
And I think he had this old Ensoniq keyboard, and it was playing. We were playing this tune. I forget what tune it was, man. But the power went off in the whole building. I mean, the power went off. So I'm the only acoustic thing on stage. I kept playing. I just went into some kind of groove or something. And this was crazy, man. And it only lasted for about maybe a minute. And the power came back on, and the sequencer came back on, and I was still in time with this thing. And that hardly ever happens. Yeah, I mean, that usually if the power comes back on, it would reboot the thing, but it just kind of picked up where we left it. and Edgar was like, "My God, I can't believe that that you stayed in time." And but that was crazy. That was one of the weirdest things that ever happened to me. And also, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, very.
There goes your accolades for your meter, right?
Yeah,
right, exactly. But that was crazy. I mean, I couldn't. That was so crazy. Everybody was freaking out, in the band. And
most
stuff.
people would have been like off on a the keyboard comes back in, and you're way somewhere else.
Well, yeah, we were trying to figure out what happened. Everybody's looking at each other, on stage, and we're playing, and the guitar player couldn't do anything. Everything's electric, but the drums, you know. And I mean, there was no drums going out into the audience in the PA, but I was still, was loud playing. Yeah, man, it came back, and it was incredible. You know, Edgar said that's the most incredible thing he's ever seen. You know, that was funny.
Yeah, but there's got to be a story that didn't come back so well, though.
Well, yeah, that was the good story. But one of the other weird things that happened to me, I mean, it's not that bad. But when I was in college, undergraduate school, I used to play a lot of gigs outside of school with like band directors and stuff that had these like big bands and party bands, because they were like the professional musicians around. And I was playing, you know, East Carolina was in Greenville, North Carolina. I was playing in Raleigh or somewhere like that, a couple hours away. I had a blue Ford van, man, and I had that Slingerland drum set, man, a double bass drum. I had really double bass drums at that time.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Like Louis Bellson and some of those old jazz guys. But and I was a good double bass player, man. I had killer double bass, but when everybody started using double pedals, I stopped doing it just because everybody kind of uses it as a crutch now.
Yeah.
But anyway, I went to this gig, man, and everybody was all excited. All the band directors, oh man, yeah, we're getting this hot new kid from East Carolina, man. And I got to the gig, man, and set up, and I had forgotten my cymbals.
Oh no!
I had no cymbals. Yeah, and I was like looking forward to impressing these guys. So that was really sucked. I mean,
yeah.
I've never forgotten my cymbals again. But what happened, man? One of the band directors also called a music store, and I was able to go get some cymbals for the gig, and played the gig, and it was okay. But it was embarrassing, man. That was
for sure.
That was embarrassing.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. So that's the only, you know, I can't think of any more like, you know, kind of weird bad stories that happened, you know.
That would be like me bringing my guitar and not bringing my amp.
Didn't you do that once?
Or forgetting your cable or something.
Yeah, I'm missing a cable, and
nobody has an extra cable.
Right.
You know?
No, never.
Forgetting your drumsticks or something.
Or just showing up with just drumsticks.
Yeah.
I think one of the stories we heard about Kevin when he was going to play with Hart.
Yeah.
They flew him into this gig, and he showed up, and he had no luggage, no clothes, no nothing. He just came walking in with a pair of drumsticks sticking out of his back pocket.
Yep.
And they're like, "Where's the rest of your stuff?" He's like,
"No, I'm just here to observe tonight.
I'm only here for one show tonight, so you know we're going back to New York tomorrow, so I'll get my shit tomorrow." It's like, how cool is that?
That's crazy, man.
Because he was a fill-in for Hart's drummer, and he was just there to observe and how they set up and you know how they went about it. And the guy's like, "That you just brought sticks?"
So
he's like, "Well, yeah, I'm just here to observe." So the hell with it.
So we're throwing Kevin under the bus. Yeah, I know he's listening because Kevin is the percussion instructor that uses your books religiously, all his students.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I go, "Do you want to jump on just so you can actually speak to the guy?" He's like, "No." He goes, "But man, that would be kind of cool, but I don't want to ruin it for you guys." So we're giving him a shout out right now.
We are. Yep.
Kevin D.
Okay. Hey, Kevin, thanks for using my books, man.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Boom.
There you go.
Kevin, send Rick one of your books back. Let him sign it and send it back to you.
Yep.
Be glad to.
Unless you want to buy another one.
Right.
You know,
$19.99.
What that guy say yesterday? Yeah, I can give you one. But the beautiful thing is they all come with a free gift. It's called an invoice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good, man. That's good.
We've lost power on stage playing.
We have.
And we didn't even, the whole place went dark, and then we went into an acoustic version of Lights by Journey.
Yeah.
And just said, "When the lights go down in the city." We just started singing it. And in the second we got to think to the bridge, the lights came back on. Everybody's like, "Did you guys plan that? You guys didn't miss a beat."
Cool.
Nope.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's the only time anything went right, when shit went wrong. But
you ain't kidding.
we've had our share of embarrassing moments, trust me.
It happens. It happens.
There must be a surreal moment.
Yeah.
You know.
Like somebody, you've been touring for quite a while and doing, you know, session and studio and stuff like that, but who have you met that you were like, have you ever been starstruck before?
Well, sure, man.
Okay.
Sure.
Who have you met that?
I mean,
who have you met that you were like, holy shit, I'm standing in front of this person?
Well, I mean, B.B. King was like that, and Edgar too was like that.
Yeah.
When I played, with Edgar and those guys. But I tell you, one of the things, man, a lot of drummers know I really love Steve Gadd, love his playing and stuff. But shortly after my Advanced Funk Studies book came out, I think like 82 or something like that. That was that One Trick Pony tour, Paul Simon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Steve, Late in the Evening, One Trick Pony, Ace in the Hole, all those cool tunes.
Yeah.
And they were in Dallas, played a gig in Dallas, Texas, man. And I was really good at that time, at young age, of sneaking in the back and seeing sound checks and stuff like that, And I went in, man, and met Gadd for the first time. And this was, I was 25 years old, like I said, 25 or maybe 27 by that time. I wrote the book in 80. So this was 82 or something. And, went up, I saw the sound check. I was out in the auditorium, and then went up, found him backstage. Hey, Steve, it's Rick Latham, man. I just wanted to meet you and say how much I appreciate you and love your playing. He said, oh, yeah, man. He said, I know about your book. He said, it's great to see that stuff written down. And then
That's great.
We went out on stage, man, and for a kid at 27, we went out on stage. And he said, why don't you play my drums, man? I'm going to go out in the audience and check them out. So, man, I've got pictures of Steve Gadd's drum set, man. I've got these sticks. Actually, I was showing somebody the other day, man. These are some sticks that Yamaha made for Steve Gadd. I don't know, way before Vic Firth started making sticks.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, nobody hardly has these sticks. They were made by Yamaha for him. But anyway, I played his drums, man. I couldn't believe that. He had these huge monitors behind him. It was just like a crazy, I couldn't believe it, And then I started taking a bunch of pictures, and Richard T. was in the band. Tony Levin was playing bass. Eric Gale was playing guitar. Man, it was like that killer band,
Yeah.
And, a lot of those guys are not with us anymore. So, I started taking all these pictures, and Richard T. was like, who is this guy? They were like, and Steve said, oh, it's okay, he's a friend of mine. So that was like, I was like, okay, cool,
Sweet.
And that was the first time we met, and we've kept in touch, and I know his wife, and he's such a great guy, man. But that was as a young kid, that was pretty surreal, to play Steve Gadd's drums and up on that big stage like that, man. And it was that was pretty crazy. And you just met the guy. He didn't know me from any. He knew who I was, but we'd never met, and but yeah, he and his wife Carol, man, are sweethearts, and
nice.
We still see each other sometime at trade shows and stuff. And I did another thing that was great too, man. The 40th anniversary of my book happened a couple years ago in 2020, and man, I had Steve on, I had Peter Erskine, I had Jerry Brown, I had Paul Lime. All the guys in my book were on this Zoom call, man, and it's on the internet. You can see it. But all those guys agreed to be. It's hard enough to get one guy, for, as you know, how hard it is to schedule this stuff.
Right.
So, man, I talked to these guys, and they were gracious enough to come on, and just really incredible. Those kind of things, man, really make you feel good. That people respect you as much as you respect them, and especially from these guys that I always looked up to, like Louis Belson became a very good friend of mine, Ed Shaughnessy from The Tonight Show. These guys, they came and did some things on my 25th anniversary DVD. That's one of the last things they did on film. And, to hear Louis say stuff like, my book was like a Bible for him. He carried it in his briefcase.
Oh, wow.
Louis Belson. Come on.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I tear up thinking about it sometimes, man. That's incredible. And that these guys, when you finally get some, respect and accolades from your peers, that's a great thing, man. That's really a great thing. So those were really surreal moments, great moments.
Well, you have to, you'll appreciate this then, because just as you sat back and looked at people you've looked up to, that all of a sudden you're like, hey, they're being so gracious, and now we're on first name basis type thing. That's how I'm feeling right now because, like I said, I've followed the stuff you've done, and it's
oh well,
you know,
thank you, man. It's all we're all just human beings, man. Just trying to do the best that we can, and I always just wanted to try to make some kind of mark, do something for mankind and the drummers, that would last for a while, man. And it's it really, like I said, I think it's a great book. Both of my books, are I think really good books, and they have a lot of things to offer, especially to younger players. And my second book, The Contemporary Drum Set Techniques, I think is good for guys that have been playing for a while, but it's very linear, so it's got a lot of this new contemporary linear kind of stuff going on. So it is great to be recognized like that, man, and to have people look up to you as a, some kind of hero or something. I'm not saying that to be, I'm bragging, but it's nice, man. It's great.
Well, you've earned the right to brag. So brag away.
Well,
yeah.
well, thank you, man. I'm not bragging. I'm just, I've been lucky to have some great things happen in my career. And again, I say lucky and also able to deliver at the same time. You got to be able to back that shit up.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not just like, look at me, it's like, look at what I've done and what I'm doing now. So
yeah,
I think that's important, but yeah, man, it's, music is a great thing, man. I love playing music, and I was inspired by my teachers, like I said, Harold Jones and Jim Hall, the my friend that lives here that I studied with at North Texas. He was a really great friend. It's been a great friend my whole life almost, and, Louis, Ed, getting to know these guys, different people in LA, it's, music is a great thing, man. It's a really, the cliche, the universal language, but
yes,
man, you can get along with anybody in music.
Yeah.
You're right.
That's a good thing.
What we had one of our local guys who he's played with quite a few, and he gave us a phrase that we're going to get it put up here. He says, "Music is medicine."
Yeah,
and it's the cure that can cure anything that's not. It doesn't have to be physical. It can be mental. Yeah. It can be two people that have completely different beliefs that can believe in a song that moves them. That can you can bring a tear. Man. You can bring a tear to an eye of someone who's just a miserable SOB. But sometimes music will just break that exterior shell. So.
Exactly, man. And I always say, I've always said this many times, music, the drums always make me feel good when I play the drum. If I feel bad or something, I can come up and play, and the drums never made me feel bad.
Right. Right. I just, because I buy everything online. I just bought a sign that's going to be hanging right here that says "Drumming is my happy place," even though. And sometimes Jeff doesn't, I don't think, other people don't get it. When you're a drummer, you're always a drummer. Whether you've decided to be a singer or something. Sometimes bass players will always be a bass player. Yeah. But for me, I'm always the guy getting yelled at for tapping.
Oh, man. Yeah, when I was a kid, man, my dad used to elbow me in church a lot.
My father.
Playing on the church pew,
Yes.
Man, vibrating the whole row.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when a drummer listens to music, sometimes I don't even hear anything but the drum line or the drum and the bass. I'm like, we can hear a song within 2 beats and go, oh, I know what song that is. And like, you didn't even hit the guitar, didn't even start yet. I don't care.
Yeah, right.
That kick drum and that snare drum, I know exactly what that is.
Well, like I said, man, the drum, drums are really an important part of a hit song, and that's a lot of times, again, mention Jeff Porcaro, Lowdown. You hear the first couple of beats of Lowdown, and you know what it is, or Rosanna, kind of stuff.
Rosanna. I mean, that's
50 Ways, Steve, all these, and not those are special beats, but just the sound, the production of the drums. If you hear a great boom, you know, you know what that is. You know,
Yeah,
right.
It's
right.
important. It's important for the structure and the I don't know what foundation of, the tune. Very important, man. And I'm not just saying that as a drummer, but producers. You talk to, hit producers, man, and they always talk about the drum sound.
I hear a lot of Picaro in the way you play.
Oh, well, thank you, man.
I do. I hear a lot. Even just the some of the soft flams and stuff behind your initial,
Well, sure, man. I got a lot from all of those guys that we've been talking about, for sure. So I appreciate that.
No, trust me. I dig everything you've put up on the online, and thank God for technology.
Well, I like doing that, man. I saw something the other day that I won't mention who it was, but another well-known drummer that teaches and plays a lot, said, "Oh man, I get tired of seeing all these videos of people practicing. Why? Like look at me. But I never post stuff because of that. I post things because I think somebody might be interested in something
Yes.
I'm doing. I'm not ever saying look at me. This is some great shit. Check it out. But it's some interesting stuff. Maybe you find this interesting, so check it out. But it's
Right.
not, not like, oh man, I'm going to post a video every day of me practicing." What's the point?
Well, you know what?
But
It's so funny you mentioned that, because we have a listener. No, this is a good thing.
Okay.
We have a listener of our show, and she is new to drumming, and her name is Hope.
Yep.
And I know Hope is listening to this and watching this show, and I want to give her credit that she puts up the practicing, and she's very new to drumming, but you can hear the foundation is there. Like any being as drumming as long as I've had. There's been drummers in our bands that I've turned around. I've looked at him. I'm like, nope, this guy's not going to last past tomorrow's rehearsal.
Yeah.
And the heart and soul that this girl is putting into her rehearsing, and she puts the videos up online. So Hope, if you're listening, keep doing what you're doing.
Yep.
And then and you got somebody like Rick here that who knows, he might stumble across your video one day and be like, hey, great job. So
sure, yeah. No, I do compliment young players when I see something that's good, and I totally get it. That some young players and they want to do that so people can see what they do. That's cool. That's cool. But I just, as a experienced professional, I never do that to say, like, look at me.
Right.
I always feel like, because I do have a lot of followers and a lot of fans and friends that like to see what I'm doing. So I think it's helpful and useful. If I don't, maybe I'll go for days without posting anything. It's not all about look at me. It's about, I enjoy teaching. I still really enjoy that, and I'm hoping that I give somebody just some new way to look at something.
Sure.
Or something.
I think anytime you sit down at that kit, somebody learns something, and
well, that's true. I think it's true just about any time you watch anybody, and that's what's great about, live performance, man. Seeing, a lot of drummers say, well, what's the best way to get better or faster or something, Go see live music, see great guys play. There's nothing like, and I teach a lot in person and online. Online is great, but it's not like being next to the guy, man. When you're sitting beside a guy, any instrument, guitar player, when you sit beside Al Di Meola, it's a lot different than, not the fact to be starstruck, but the fact that you can see what he's doing, how his body's moving, all this stuff, and feel that electricity, It's like seeing Buddy Rich, man. Buddy Rich was always that motherfucker. The best drummer ever, I think.
Yes.
Man. He always did some phenomenal stuff, and I saw him maybe 8-10 times live.
Oh.
And the first time I saw him, my 16th birthday, I sat like really from me, like maybe 8 feet away from him. On the floor tom side, man. Unbelievable, man. And he was driving his Ferrari. He used to drive his Ferrari behind the bus. He would drive. The band would be on the bus. But the concert, the band was in there set up and stuff, man. This was in a dinner theater in Greenville, South Carolina. For my 16th birthday, my parents took me to see Buddy Rich. And it was like 2 hours after the start time, you know, and they said, well, Buddy was in an accident. He's okay. He came in, man, and blistered it. Played the crap out of it. It was incredible, man. And you could tell he might have been on some painkillers or something, man. But he was, you know. But to be in that room, that's you know, to be next to the people. So what I'm getting back to is, you know, people say, well, you know, how can you learn this? And man, just go see players. Go witness live music and learn how to play with people. You know, playing in your studio is great, but play live. You know, play with other people. Even if they're just your buddies that play guitar or bass or something, I would much rather play with, you know, a rhythm section than just practice by myself. I mean, I love to practice sometimes, but it's more fun to just play music. You're practicing almost all the time. Yeah, you know. Well, that's one way to look at it.
You can feed off each other.
Exactly. I mean, no, it's making music, man. It's not all about drum chops. It's about playing music, you know, and that's the thing I think that a lot of players miss, you know, especially in this day and age with the, you know, with YouTube and all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of great guys, man, that can play much faster than I can play, but they can't play a groove, you know. Right. You got to be able to feel it. Right. It's all about the groove.
The groove and the soul.
One of my DVDs, all about the groove. But yeah, man, it's all about the feel. You know, that's why all these great drummers that we've mentioned, all of these guys that we've mentioned today, you know, have great time and great feel. You know, that's what to me makes a great player. You know, a team player. And listen, I love playing country, like I said, pop, whatever, man. Just playing a groove and making it feel good and have a great drum sound. That's great.
Have a good bass player next to you that the two of you are creating your own pocket, and then let the rest of them follow you.
Exactly. Well, it's kind of a, you know, it's a you know, community effort. You know, it's everybody's in it together, and that's what is great about some of those older things like Motown stuff, man. Some of that stuff, you know, is the time is not necessarily that good, but it sounds great because they're all playing together. You know, it's no click track or whatever. It may slow up, down, or speed up or a little bit, but man, it feels great. So, you know, that's another way to look at that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think those recordings are the ones that we've mentioned on other shows. Stoney Curtis from out in Vegas.
Sure.
He even said, he goes, sometimes it's those old session. Nobody was, you know, it's the tape is rolling, and they're just up doing their thing. Yep. There was nothing. They didn't stop half the time, and if they did, it was to bust each other's balls and take a sip of some bourbon and keep going. You know, light a cigarette.
Hey man, I was talking to a buddy of mine one time in L.A., Joey Mercia, guitar player. Okay, he played on a bunch of Motown stuff. He played Clean Up Woman. I don't know if you know that tune, but it's a great guitar. There's two guitars on it, but he played one, and that's by Betty Wright, Clean Up Woman.
Okay,
and he also played the Don Pink was another guy. But what I was going to say about Joey and Don Pink played the pickup to Sexual Healing. You know? That the little line, you know, bow bow bow. Okay. Right. So Don was saying at that time, man, he was on that reel of tape was crazy, man. Was Marvin Gaye, and then the Jacksons would come in, the same tape,
right?
24 track tape, and then he would play something with the Jacksons, you know, like ABC or something.
Right.
And then somebody else just was on the same reel of tape, man. These guys were like, okay, next, you know. But what I'm getting at, the rhythm section was killing, you know. Yeah. It was like a factory back then, you know. And great. That stuff sounds great, man.
That's awesome.
So Rick, before we let you disappear here,
I'm sorry, man. I guess let's get it on. I guess is the name.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. He's right.
You've never heard that phrase.
I have.
But not at home.
I have.
Not at home. I think it's more like
it's
get out.
You got to be more. No, you got to be more smooth about it.
Oh,
that's all.
Barry White.
Yeah. Yes. Not really.
I'm sorry.
No.
You got to play a little Barry White.
Sorry.
Anyway, so you keep talking about sitting behind the kit and whatnot. Why don't you give us a little taste before we let you go? Would you mind?
Okay, I will, man.
I'm gonna make Mike's smile even bigger
salivate.
if you do this.
Okay, I'm not set up to do it super properly, but I think it should be okay. So let me go over and see what's happening.
All right.
I got loose pants on, so that's all right.
Good.
I'm going to mute my vocal mic, so it'll take me a minute to get back to that.
That's all right.
That's fine.
I hope this comes out.
So for your sake,
I really hope this comes out.
Yep.
God.
That's why I asked.
Because I will not be able to fill in with my own version.
Nope.
Okay, guys, let me know. I'm gonna play. Just hit them for a second. Just let me know if it's happening.
Okay,
and I'll continue.
Yep. All right. Oh yeah,
that's perfect.
It's working great.
Yep. Perfect. Love it.
All right, my turn.
How was that?
Terrible.
It was, yeah.
Oh God. Keep practicing. Keep practicing, kid.
Yeah. Right.
No, was the sound okay, man? Was
yes.
the sound okay?
Yes. Someday you'll get it. You just keep practicing.
Oh, okay.
I think you're on the road to something there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
No, that was great.
Yeah. That was awesome. Thank you so much for doing that for us.
Very good.
And
hey, sure, man. I'm glad it worked out. I'm not really set up. I have these different settings for teaching and video stuff, Zoom meetings and stuff. But I'm glad it worked out.
So that was perfect.
Now I'm all tangled up. So
yeah, well, I am too. Just watching all that. Okay. It's like man, it just made me realize I'm a better singer than I was ever a drummer.
There you go.
So. Well, you don't want to hear me sing, man. So I'll stick.
There you go.
All right. Well, next time you need a studio, I'll come down. I'll sing, you drum, and we'll just jam it out.
All right. Sounds good. You're welcome anytime, man. You guys, if you get down this way, come on.
Okay.
See, he doesn't realize.
He has no idea that Mike's never going to leave.
Yeah, a second I hang out, I'm going to book my flight. Be like, what? You said come to dinner. Yeah. I brought some biscuits and some bourbon.
Hey, we got those here, dude. You don't have to bring much, man. All my buddies, man. That's one thing I've learned a lot about since moving back to the South is bourbon.
Oh, there you go.
All my buddies, man. Barbecue and bourbon, man.
There you
Come
go.
on.
Two of my favorite bees.
They go together.
Yeah. There you go.
Rick, man, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, it's
really
been
appreciate
thank you guys, man. It's been fun, man. It's been we've been here over an hour.
See, told you. I promised him earlier. I said it'll be 45 minutes or an hour, depending on if you're having fun or not.
There you go.
Well,
so,
can I do a little shameless promotion?
That was our next.
That's our next thing.
Yep.
You promote.
Okay, I'm gonna show you. Okay, this is the Advanced Funk Studies book.
Nice.
Okay. Nice. Comes with 2 CDs of me playing everything in the book, and then
it comes with an invoice.
Kind of ratty looking, but this is my second book, The Contemporary Drum Set Techniques. Comes with 4 CDs of me playing everything in the book
and an invoice.
So I did want to say, man, thanks. You guys mentioned a lot of your friends and stuff that have used my books and teachers and stuff in the area. I really appreciate that. I really do, man. It's like I said, coming up on 43 years this year in October, and I'll be celebrating another birthday, and man, it came out on my birthday. I did that so I wouldn't forget. I actually released the book. So every birthday is kind of a celebration for the book as well. Let me get this. Oh, there you go.
We'll have to get you up here for to just do a clinic for everybody, and have.
Hey man, I would love to do that. I'm back out doing clinics and stuff. I would love to do that. If you know a place in the area, a school or a store that would be into that. All my companies support that, and I would like to give a shout out to my companies again.
Absolutely,
man.
do
DW Drums and Hardware, DW Drums and Hardware, Istanbul Mehmet Cymbals, Evans Drumheads, ProMark Drumsticks, and Drum Dots. Man. I love all those companies.
Awesome.
Have been using that stuff for a long time. And I don't use it because they give it to me or pay me a lot. I use it because I love the stuff, man.
I'm a firm believer of Drum Dots.
Part of my sound, man. It's part of my sound.
Yeah,
I love all this stuff that I'm playing, and you can see my setup, and so
the
I
days
really appreciate all the support from
the days of bar napkins and duct tape.
Are long
replaced
gone.
by Drum Dots is so much better, man.
yeah. Well, I like them too, man. I like them too. But it's funny that somebody a couple of years ago made the drum wallet. Have you seen those?
No.
They actually, people used to put their wallet on the snare drum.
Okay.
And there's a guy that made a drum wallet.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was pretty ingenious, I think.
Yeah. Well, those Drum Dots are awesome. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I love them.
That's
I
so
love
cool,
it, man. Great,
Rick. We would definitely love to have you back on again. Yeah. Anytime you're promoting anything going on, please reach out to us.
Well, thank you guys. Yeah,
I
would love to.
This is a new avenue for you to get your message out. Anything we can do to help, we're just thrilled to have you here. So
I appreciate it. It's been fun, man. And I would love to come to Syracuse. So,
I will be talking to Mr. Kevin Dean.
Yeah.
If you're listening again, Mr. Kevin Dean, please call.
Okay. All right.
And we'll get him because he's got quite
he
the
has a studio himself, so
quite the studio and students, a lot of students.
Yeah.
So
yep.
I think right now he's got a lot of younger students.
Yeah.
A lot of the older ones are just graduating, but.
And I'm sure he can find a spot.
Yeah. So a lot of times when I'll do a clinic, I'll stay an extra day and teach some private lessons and stuff too. So.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm into all that stuff.
Excellent.
We will hook you up with some barbecue and bourbon up here, and I think you'll be surprised.
Yeah.
We do have some good northern barbecue. Yep. So.
Okay.
We'll bring you out.
I'm sure, man. I'm sure.
Very
good.
Let
me know when you're going to air this, and I'll also promote it a little bit.
It'll be up tonight.
Yeah, it'll be up in a little while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a couple hours. Okay. I will send you a link in a messenger so that you can put it up on your page. Yep. And
sure. You can tag me or whatever. I'll share it or whatever.
Awesome.
I'm
good,
speechless.
Guys.
It's been so great. And tell a couple of your friends that they should reach out to us and be on the show.
I will. A couple of those brothers that we talked about.
That's
there
right.
You go.
A couple of those brothers definitely with their upstate ties.
Yes.
Okay.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you can get Steve Gadd on, but that would be like,
Well, he's hard to get, man.
Yeah, I'll bet he is.
Sure.
So I'm not going to count on that. But hey, anything you could do, we appreciate it, and we do appreciate you being here. So
thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
man.
Rick.
Thanks, Rick. God bless you, and be safe and be happy, man.
All right, you too.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Take care, man.
See you, man.
Later on.
There we go. Couldn't be any better than that.
No,
I'm.
Should I leave or can we tell jokes now?
You got a good one?
No, I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding. Listen, I'm going to run, man.
All right, brother. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you guys, man. Had a good time, man. Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, brother.
Take care.
You
Bye-bye.
too.
You as well.
That's awesome. I kind of wish he had some jokes.
I know, right?
It would definitely increase the value of the show, right?
Yeah. How do you tell when a drummer's at the door? The knock's off or whatever.
The knock's in time.
No, it's not. Never.
The knock takes 25 minutes.
Yeah. Right.
Shut up. Okay. Well, that is by far one of my favorite episodes.
Yep.
Anytime we have a drummer on, I get thrilled.
Yeah, you do.
Kevin and Jeff.
Kevin, whatever.
No, come on.
I
now.
know. I'm
These
just
guys
kidding.
Are,
he knows.
We've got some good stuff coming up
Yeah.
too. We got Vinny the drummer coming up. We've got boy, I just sound like a dick now. I completely forgot who we got coming up. I do know who we got coming up. Hang on, I'm going to say.
You're going to say what?
Say something interesting.
There's nothing interesting.
Oh well, no, I know.
Anyway.
No,
I mean it was cool to have Rick on, and learn about
Carl
He's
Kennedy.
got books.
Is coming up. We got Carl Kennedy coming.
Oh, that's right.
We got
Vinny the drummer.
Vinny the drummer. We've got Mr. Tripoli coming up.
Yes.
Well, he's next week, isn't he?
Oh, you got the camera there or the calendar there, pal.
I'm looking it up. Shut up. Jeff Tripoli's coming up. Yes. So we got Vinny the drummer and Jeff Tripoli next week.
Yep.
So 2 drummers next week.
Great.
See, there you go.
Wonderful.
Our timing will be perfect.
I see what you did there.
See what I did there?
I do. I really do.
We're going now.
We are. We're out.
We want to thank Hawk Medical Supply,
Sharky's Event Center,
DJ Life's a Son of a Beach,
at Good Nature Brewery,
the Print Shop Underground,
Snarky Productions. You left me with that one, and I know you
I
did.
did that on purpose. Don't forget Angry Smokehouse.
Yes.
And Toffee Break Toffee. You've been listening to The Good,
The Band,
The Ugly. I'm Big Papa.
I'm Jeff.
We want to thank you, and we will see you next week. Peace. They're not going to see that part.
No, let the credits roll.